Hello and welcome into the Birds of the Roundtable for another Victory Tuesday edition of the podcast. The Eagles get the win over the Cleveland Browns, move back above 500. And guys, it corresponds with the weekend where every other team in the division lost. So it was a great weekend from the Eagles' perspective. We're here to break it all down. I'm your host, Shane Haff. You can give me a follow on Twitter at Shane Haff NFL. Also joined by the crew. We'll go around the horn here. Give Dibes a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Be sure to check out all of his work, especially with Ryan on Don't Check Out Dibes' work. Okay, Dibes says don't check out Dibes' work. Don't follow him at all. Dibes, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Happy to talk some more Eagles. Not so optimistic going forward, but I'm not gonna sit here and say a win is a win is a win. I'm not doing it. I don't care.
All right. We are also joined by his co-host on Party on Broad, Ryan Reese. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. And go check out Ryan's work. Just like cover up the half of the screen Dibes is on, I guess. I don't know. Ryan, how you doing?
Yeah, I suggest you definitely follow me. If you don't want to follow Dibes. No, I'm feeling a little bit better. A day removed since the ugly win, and still not thrilled. Still trying to be positive, but gets harder and harder each day.
This is a banger of a comment here. The panel's got more white boys than the Celtics bench. I love it. Also joined by David. Give him a follow on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. Check out all of his written work at phillycovercorner.com. David, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am far more optimistic than Ryan and Crockpot, but yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. I actually saw some things that were good in the game. I was happy about. Saw a little progress.
Did David freeze?
No,
maybe.
Maybe we're just reading the comment.
David, okay. David froze on my end. I thought maybe I froze or something. So yeah, we're not going to read that comment on the air, but you guys keep the comments coming. We may not read them on the air, but Ryan may laugh at them anyways.
Yeah,
so
that's why we all froze. But yeah,
Gotcha. My bad. I was trying to do the host thing here, and
Marshawn is bringing his A game tonight.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into it, guys. And we will start off. Let's start offensive takeaways from the Eagles game. Dibes, I'll throw it to you first. Give me your offensive takeaway from this one.
Offensive takeaway. It's got to be Jalen Hurts limiting the turnovers, right? Like the Eagles are 11-1 when Jalen Hurts doesn't have a turnover, and he had 0 turnover-worthy plays. This is a season where he's averaging 3 per game. Last season, he averaged 0.8, 2022, 0.5 per game. And I thought that was one of the biggest differences in the game. That was pretty close and a major step in the right direction, hopefully a sign of things to come. I thought his decision-making, accuracy, his ability to respond against the blitz and pressure was good. He played a clean game. It's got to be Jalen Hurts and his better decision-making. After the first, 0 for 5 to start the game, he was terrific. So it was a very, very good Jalen Hurts game.
Yeah, it was. And that's nice to see because, as you mentioned, it's been – I feel like Hurts has played well this year, but the turnovers have definitely been an issue. And it was the first game this season that he hasn't had a turnover-worthy play. I will click back through and let you know how far back that streak goes because I didn't find it quick enough while Dibes was talking. But Ryan, I'll throw it to you next. What's your offensive takeaway from this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Dibes kind of nailed it right there. But outside of that, I think for me, what I'm taking away is that this team still doesn't know how to start a football game. And the 5 straight games, no points in the first quarter. Every single opening drive has been just atrocious. And, I'm beginning to wonder what is going on? Why are they fighting against themselves? Because that's clearly what's happening. It's clearly not Moore's offense here. There's hands in this honeypot. And, I just wish they would let him do his thing. And again, I don't know whether this is a Nick problem or if this is a Hurts problem. That's maybe not something we'll ever know, but something has to give. And that's what my takeaway is. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I tweeted this out earlier this week, but on opening drives this season, the Eagles have run 16 plays for 12 yards. Jalen Hurts is 4 of 9 passing with 28 yards and an interception. His average depth of target on opening drive passes is 14.4 yards. For frame of reference, the highest ADOT from any quarterback with 100 passes this season is 10.2 yards. And so it's an extreme outlier. He had an ADOT of 21.5 yards on his 0 for 5 start if you exclude the throwaway after the botch snap. 21.5 yards. From that moment on, he went 16 of 20, and he had an ADOT of 7.8 yards. And so the Eagles are coming out early in games trying to generate explosive plays, and what they're generating is quick 3-and-outs and getting the offense behind.
And that's what makes me irritable, because there are flashes under center, play action, the pistol. Like, there are signs that there is an elite offense here. We just need to see it for 4 quarters. That's not that much to ask.
Yeah. I'll leave that for now. David, I'll throw it to you next. What's your offensive takeaway?
To tag on a little bit of what y'all were saying, I think we saw this last year too, the scripted plays. The beginning of every game last year, they went for explosive plays, the same as they're doing this year. And if Nick is going to have a say in the game plan, it's going to be on the scripted plays. And I think that's what we're seeing. That's where most of his tenants are. That's where a lot of those play calling look like him. And then from that point on, it changes a lot. And my biggest takeaway other than that, and like Dobb said, they were under center some. They did do the pistol a few times, maybe 3 times. And I believe they were under center 3 additional times. He's looked great against the blitz. So we do know that there's been changes, or else that would still be problematic. He went 6 of 12 for 100 some yards and 2 touchdowns when he was blitzed in this game, both touchdown passes. But my other biggest take would be how important A.J. Brown is. Because a lot of those plays you saw, the 2 passes that he caught, especially that touchdown, that's one of the best receptions you'll ever see. This guy's in his prime. He's playing his best football. And he is making everybody look better again. As soon as he got on the field, Jalen's more comfortable throwing up those 50-50 balls, because when you have somebody like A.J. Brown bringing them down, they're more like 80-20 balls. So I think you will see the offense starting to roll a little bit more.
Yeah. To his point, just kind of rolling off of that, the Eagles, to stay positive here, the Eagles are one Saquon Barkley catch away from being 4-1. And that
Absolutely.
one was when you didn't have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and your clear kryptonite when he's not in, and Lane Johnson. So,
Right.
Listen, if you want to be positive, look at it that way, that they're really just one catch away from being 4-1 and being the tops of the division and be in a much better spot than they are right now.
Yeah.
And their kryptonite has been the Bucs since Jalen Hurts got here, which is their only loss. So, yeah, I mean, I think there are things to be optimistic about. Like you said about Lane Johnson, too. I think they're 14-24 in the 38 games he doesn't play, which
might as well be 0 and a million. It seems like we never.
And he even described the offense as feeling constipated without him in there. So that was a pretty funny line. But yeah, I do think there's a few things to build upon on this game. And it was a game that saw Saquon Barkley not that good. He had 18 carries for like 47 yards. They did have to rely on Hurts and Hurts' arm, and he provided the victory.
Yeah. I tweeted this out earlier today too. You mentioned the pistol and under center stuff. The Eagles ended the day with 6 total runs from pistol or under center and 1 play action pass from pistol or under center. So 7 plays, 80 yards, 86% success rate, 0.714 EPA per play, which just for frame of reference is nearly 4 times the highest EPA for an offense in the league this season. So that was clearly working. And there hasn't been, again, another game this year where there were 7 under center / pistol runs / play actions. And so hopefully we see that start to build out a little bit more, because I do think that would add a huge element to this offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Lots of comments coming in. We will throw around to some of those here in a minute after we get to our defensive takeaways. So keep the comments coming, guys. And I'll just reverse the order here. David, give me your top defensive takeaway in this one.
That the defense got pressure and they had 5 sacks, and 2.5 of them came via the edge rushers. That was a huge difference in anything that we've seen. I thought Nolan Smith had a pretty nice game. He shed a couple blocks to tackle Deshaun Watson to kill a drive there when it appeared Wilson was about to convert an easy first down. He also recorded a sack and a QB hit. The sack was more of just kind of tagging somebody when they were down, but he gets credit for it. Brandon Graham in his 200th game, which is just an incredible feat, had 5 tackles, including that 4th down TFL that he had there. He's the oldest player on the field, still playing good. And I think Fangio listened to Bryce Huff and put him in a 4-point stance. And he looked confident. He was definitely the best game he's had all year. He is doing what he excelled with the Jets. And I thought it was a welcome sign to see Fangio incorporate that in Philadelphia and to actually listen to his players, including getting Cooper DeJean in the game as well. I thought those were 2 very positive takeaways from the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we've got breaking news here on the podcast, and it's not good news, because we have Q chiming in saying that the Eagles aren't losing until maybe the Ravens.
That's bad. That's really bad.
Q is the guy that always picked against the Eagles, because whatever he says would happen would not happen. So thanks, Q. The Eagles are not winning another game until they get to the Ravens because of this comment right here. You guys know where to find him. Like and subscribe for more expert predictions, he says. All right, you guys keep the comments rolling again. We won't give all of you a hard time. We just always have to give Q one. Ryan, give me your defensive takeaway.
Yeah, listen, Dibes, really sorry here, pal. But Cooper DeJean is the storyline here. And listen, he had his first start. Him and Q were out there for the majority of the game with Slay being a little banged up. It was really great to see. I especially really loved the way that Fangio used him. He was coming kind of off the edge, like he was blitzing, and then he would fake it and run. Like again, he had Deshaun Watson just absolutely fooled on multiple plays, and he was great in coverage. Honestly, this is such a great sign for the especially for the 2 first picks from last year, for Q and Coop to be on the field at the same time, balling out. It appears that we got these 2 right, and we got ourselves some dogs. So moving forward, I love it.
I can't believe the NFL let Cooper DeJean fall to the 2nd round.
Crazy.
It never should have happened. Absolutely never should have happened. In other news of things that should have never happened, Avonte Maddox starting for 4 weeks over him also should have never happened. But here we are. I saw a comment come in from Anthony. Said, my biggest takeaway was Moro Ojomo's performance. Vic Fangio's face lit up when he was asked about Ojomo today. People wonder sometimes why the Eagles have not extended Milton Williams. It's because Moro Ojomo is probably a better player already, and he's on the team longer for cheaper. Milton Williams is probably going to walk, and it's because Moro Ojomo is earning those snaps from him moving forward, in my opinion. So, Dibes, what's your defensive takeaway from this one?
I have to cue like the Debbie Downer sound. Womp, womp. I'm gonna say it, and I think this win needs context. Where the Eagles beat a historically bad offense, and I'm excited for it, just like everyone else. But man, this is an offense that's literally dead last in the league in points per possession and EPA per play. They had one trip inside the red zone on Sunday, giving them a grand total of 9 red zone trips this season. Watson has been sacked at least once on 27 drives this year, and he leads the league in percentage of drives with at least 1 sack. So I do want to just throw that out there. While we're all excited about the pass rush finally getting home, there's a reason for that. Let's see how they look against an actual real
Daniel
start.
Jones.
And I just want to throw that out there because Ryan took mine. Like Cooper DeJean, that was the best film review I did probably since going back to like Matisse Thybulle defensive highlight reels. Like that was a blast. So Cooper DeJean, he is the chess piece for this Eagles defense. Though he was on the defensive line, he was in the box, he was in the slot. He even played a snap on the boundary. He was everywhere. My biggest takeaway was Cooper DeJean. But I do want to put context in what we saw on Sunday.
Bringing us all down.
Yeah. But by the same token, a lot of people were like, if Deshaun Watson looks like a competent quarterback against this Eagles defense.
Right.
He went,
Yeah.
what,
And he
10
didn't.
for 10 in a stretch? He went like he was going like 10 or 10 or 11 of 11 in a stretch in the second half, man.
And they put up 9 points. I mean, the defense, you can contextualize it's a bad offense. And there's definitely that. Like, I don't know. I need to see it more. I don't know that the pass rush is fixed. I don't know that the defense is fixed, but they did what I needed them to do coming off the bye. The cool thing for me to watch is how many times have we seen the Eagles defense in a clutch situation just give up a touchdown? I mean, you saw it in the Atlanta game, right? They go right down the field. And in this game, with the opportunity to tie the game, that was first and goal, I think at like the 8-yard line. And you had 3 straight plays of a guy stepping up and making a big play. You have Cooper DeJean following a guy all the way across the field and making a tackle one-on-one out in the flat. Then on the next play, you have Nolan Smith does a great job of taking on a pulling guard, and he flashes his head inside until Watson commits outside, and then he sheds and tackles Deshaun Watson. That saved a touchdown. And then on third down, you have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson break up the slant to David Njoku. And like, it wasn't like Deshaun just missed a receiver or something like that. Like, it was 3 straight good plays from the defense in clutch time. And I mean, I fully expected when they're inside the red zone that they were going to score a touchdown, because I feel like I've seen it so many times. So it was nice to see a little bit of clutch there from the defense. And like I said, overall, I thought they played well. I also think it was a really bad offense they played against, and they don't have a better offense to play against this week in the Giants, but Daniel Jones has given the Eagles some troubles with his legs before. And I don't know what Malik Neighbors' status is for this game, but he's a good receiver. So we might see some things, if they can stack back-to-back good performances against a bad offense, that's better than what we've seen so far. So it's a step in the right direction for me.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. So, okay, do we got any comments we need to throw to here? I have been doing a terrible job of keeping an eye on the comments.
Let's hit some comments.
Let's hit some. I've been doing a bad job of keeping an eye on those.
All right, I got it. Let's go back up to we've got a comment on Myles Garrett. What would you do to bring in Myles Garrett to the Philadelphia Eagles? Would you do it?
I would do it. I'd rather have Max Crosby, I think. He's a little bit
I
younger.
would not.
Right? No? Is he not younger?
I mean, he's probably younger, but he's not better.
Oh, I didn't say it was better. I'm just looking for.
Actually, he's only a year younger. Crosby's only a year younger than Myles Garrett.
That can't be right.
It is. Max Crosby's 27. Myles Garrett's 28. I thought it feels like Garrett's been around a lot longer.
Forever. Oh, okay. Well, then I amend my statement. I'll go with Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Crosby's really good, but Garrett's next level.
Sure.
He's still no TJ Watt. I will die on the TJ Watt is a better edge rusher than Myles Garrett Hill, but regardless.
Question for the panel. How many people on here have played a down in the NFL? Madden, excluding Madden.
Oh,
I kicked a field goal with Jake Elliott on the field.
Did you really?
Yeah, I made a 27-yard field goal.
Nice.
I did a lot of NFL head coach back in the day. Oh, shit.
Question: thoughts on Saquon Barkley being the catalyst of 2 game-altering miscues? It's starting to become a pattern, Shane. He's our best player, and minus AJ. And hopefully, that's not an issue we see in the playoffs.
Yeah, the first down was crazy. That should have been picked up 99 out of 99 times. I mean, that was insane.
Yeah.
Let's also use a little context. That's like 2 straight weeks for Miles Sanders, So like, are we really going to be that mad that Saquon, does other things better?
I will never forget. I say this. I don't remember which game it was, but I will never forget the Eagles having like a 1 possession lead, trying to run the clock out, and Miles Sanders ran out of bounds, and I tweeted about it, upset about it, and everybody was like, "You can't expect him to do that." Like where he's knowing all that stuff, and then the very next week, Kenny Gainwell was in the game trying to milk a lead, and he slid instead of going out of bounds, and I was like, "Thank you."
Oh, I remember that well. That was awful.
I would do unspeakable things. Best comment of the day so far.
Really? That's awesome. Forbidden things.
But before we get off the Browns, though, as bad as a lot of people think their offense was, their defense was pretty good. I think they were a top 8 defense, pass defensively, and Hurts did really well against them. And Jim Schwartz has those guys playing really well. And if you're not going to be impressed at all with the defense, you should be impressed with the way Jalen Hurts performed against their Browns defense, because it was impressive.
Great.
Yeah, and he did it. I mean, I think everybody in Philadelphia thinks the team is built to run the football, right? I mean, that's why you got people run the ball signs out in front of the NovaCare complex, right? And that's true. Like, you've got a good offensive line. You're built to run the ball. And Jim Schwartz just says, hey, you're not running the ball. And we've got good man cover corners outside. Yeah. And, I mean, we mentioned Saquon couldn't get anything going under 3 yards per carry.
Nope.
But the offense put up 20, should have put up 23 if not for the blocked field goal. They, if you exclude the kneel down at the end of the first half, they had 42 yards per drive. It was Jalen's best EPA performance since the Cardinals game last year. It was also his first game without a turnover-worthy play since the Cardinals game last year. So,
what game was the Cardinals game last year? Was that early?
It was like week 16. They lost.
Yeah, they lost the game.
Second to last game.
35-31.
It was New Year's Eve.
I blacked out that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked good. The defense did not, but yeah.
Best Jalen game since Buffalo. If we had Rush Reese, we would be top 5 in sacks. Bryson Stott and now Jalen Hurts. All these new dads are killing my teams. Jesus. Guys who scored 20 points. The Lions just hung 47 on the Cowboys, and the Bucks hit a 50 burger.
Cowboys defense sucks. Like, what? The Cowboys defense is not the Browns defense.
If we had Ryan Reese, our D line would be unstoppable.
And David's making some great points.
I will say, I don't know how tall David is, but Ryan's pretty tall. I'm just saying, he could bat some passes.
Definitely 6'3". 5 on a good day.
All right, let's roll on to Giants.
All right, well, let's get into our player of the game first. We did not do our players of the game from this one, so I'm going first, and I'm taking Jalen Hurts. Deal with it. For all the reasons I mentioned, I thought he had a really good game. I already laid out all the reasons. So Jalen Hurts, player of the game for me. Ryan, you haven't got to go first in anything yet, so I'll throw it to you next here. Who is your player of the game?
Still not going first either way.
Yeah, you've been second every time. We're just going to keep that consistent.
All right. I'm okay with that. It's AJ Brown. He finally comes back after missing a couple of games. It looks like he hasn't missed a step. And David was right. That touchdown pass was friggin' beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. David. Sorry. David. See, when we got a comment on the screen, your names disappear, and I forget those sometimes. So
I understand.
David, who was your player of the game?
I don't have him as player of the game. I think y'all nailed Hurts and AJ there, but I'll give a shout out to Grant Calcaterra, who filled in nicely.
Nice.
for Dallas Goedert. He had 4 grabs on 4 targets for 67 yards. I think he had a really nice game, and he provided them with enough ability so they could keep the game plan the same because the Browns were susceptible to tight ends over the middle of the field. So it was nice to see them be able to utilize that with Grant.
Yeah. All right. And then Dives, we'll leave Cooper DeJean for you. Who's your player of the game?
Wait, are we doing offense? Just offense?
No,
Just player
anybody.
of the game.
Yeah, it's Cooper DeJean. There's no question. I mean, he was so much fun to watch today going through the all 22. I put out 2 videos of him. I did one yesterday on just Cooper DeJean, and I did one today of Quinyon and Cooper together. And man, I'm so excited to see what Vic Fangio has in store for Coop going forward. Him just owning real estate in Deshaun Watson's head was so much fun to watch. Got to be Coop.
Do
Here's
we
the
know
thing.
why he didn't get the full sack? Like, if you watch that, it looks like that was Cooper's sack. Like, I have no idea how Huff got half of that. I just can't understand that.
Huff's on the board.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they decided that, but he
was
had a
sent on
chance
3
for another
blitzes.
one when he. Yeah. See, here's the thing. Now I need Keely Ringo to develop into a starting outside corner because Cooper DeJean needs to stay in the slot. I want
Yes.
him to be the slot corner. I don't want him moving outside whenever Slay retires or whatever.
It's about putting your best players on the field in the best position possible, and I love that, man. That he should not leave that spot for the rest of the season, unless
Seeing him
there's like
blitz was awesome.
unless there's an injury at safety. Then we'd have a conversation.
We got a
Sydney's
comment.
back.
Another one
We're
here.
good.
The
No,
tackle
I would put Cooper there probably before Sidney Brown.
tackle of the game has to be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on Quinyon. Yeah, that was a great pass breakup there by
was
CJGJ.
I'm pretty sure that was his first one of the season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Says it's hard to take any cornerback serious with a name like Keely. Oh, man. Let's roll on. Let's get into this upcoming matchup with the Giants, and we'll talk our top matchups to watch and make our picks of the week. Ryan, I'll give it to you first, as long as you don't take mine. What is your top matchup to watch in the Giants game?
Well, I think this is going to depend on whether or not we see Malik Neighbors. All indications show that he should be ready to go by Sunday. Yeah, it'll be Malik Neighbors and the wide receivers there versus our defensive backs. And again, we could assume that Slay will be back out there, but hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of Coop and Q out there. So yeah, I want to see that matchup.
All right. Dives, I'll throw it to you next. Who is your matchup to watch?
I think you're going with the D line for the Giants, correct?
Yeah.
Give me. I will go. I mean, there's some injuries here that are really vital. I'll go Eagles pass rush versus the not the Eagles. Yeah, no, you're going Giants pass rush, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right, I'm going to go Eagles pass rush versus the Giants O line, and more specifically, Andrew Thomas is now out for the year with a potential Liz Frank injury. He was really bad last week. 2 sacks allowed, 3 pressures. But, man, this is like the guy for the New York Giants. And it's probably in that territory of do the Giants start the tank or bench Daniel Jones? Because the offense is now in complete shambles. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but you're probably going to see Jermaine Illuminor play right tackle with Evan Neal Illuminor to left tackle and Evan Neal to right tackle. And Evan Neal is just not a good football player. Like he gets cooked all the time. So look for this Eagles pass rush to kind of keep building momentum against the New York Giants, and that's where I'll go with.
All right. Also, just worth watching how quickly the ball is going to come out from Daniel Jones. He's near the bottom of the league in terms of his time to throw and his average depth of target. They're not like bottom, but they're down there. So the ball's going to come out fast. It's going to come out short. The Eagles need to tighten up their coverages and try to make him hold on to it. David. Oh, yeah.
Hold up. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis were solid on Sunday, right? Like,
Yeah.
Fraud watch. What are we doing?
Listen, I get it. Nakobe Dean had a bad day. All right, everybody's already calling for his head. Good Lord, let the kid battle through a little adversity. All right.
Jordan Davis. So if the Georgia boys are on fraud watch, not that I'm endorsing PFF grades, but the Eagles' top 3 graded defensive players were Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Nolan Smith. And then their lowest rated player was Nakobe Dean. So we won't talk about that. But
that does check out.
I will say, Nakobe had some very visible screw ups. He had a few good plays too that nobody's really talking about, but I'm not going to pigeonhole myself into being the Nakobe Dean defender. By the way, Dibs, I need to make you defend a statement. Did I just hear you say that the Giants might have to decide if they want to bench Daniel Jones and tank? Wouldn't continuing to play Daniel Jones be the move if you're trying to tank?
Yeah, that would be a form of tanking.
That was my honestly my other matchup to watch. It wasn't even Eagles versus Giants. It was Daniel Jones versus Deshaun Watson for worst starting quarterback in the NFL. So kudos to you, Shane. You nailed it.
The Philly Sports Go Boom on Twitter says PFF's on fraud watch now too.
Wow.
All right. David, I'll throw it to you. What's your matchup to watch in this one?
The replacement for Jordan Mailata, the Eagles offensive line. I guess it'll have to be Fred Johnson. The Giants, I believe they have 14 sacks this year so far. I think that's right. But like what the screen says there, Brian Burns, and you got Cam Jurgens, who's been struggling some with the long snapping to Jalen Hurts there out of the shotgun. And curious to see Saquon Barkley. How is he going to hold his emotions in check? I mean, it is a big game for him. He wants to go there and really stamp, his brand of offense and show New York what they've missed out on. He acts like it's not personal, but it's absolutely personal. So I'm curious to see that and how the offensive line holds up for him throughout the day.
What, Dives?
Fred Johnson allowed 2 pressures on 5 pass blocking snaps last week. The week before that, he allowed 2 sacks on 11 total pressures in his only start. So that is
from the opposite side too. He's had to play
huge,
right and left. He just moving back and forth.
And Brian Burns, by the way, is 5th best in the NFL. In pass rush win rate among edge defenders, and they don't blitz a lot. They're like relatively middle of the pack for a defense. This New York Giants pass rush is really strong.
Yeah, I was going to mention some of it, but that's Shane's topic, I believe. So.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Thank you, guys. I don't have a matchup anymore, so we'll just
I left you the stats, man. I just set it up for you to tee off.
Yeah. My matchup to watch is my podcast hosts vulturing my points like Jalen Hurts vultures Saquon Barkley touchdowns. By the way, I told Mark on Chalk Talk, he was talking about how the Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown score is the best bet in football. And I said, maybe not this week, because the 1 yard line, I feel like Nick Sirianni is going to pander and hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley at the 1 yard line, not tush push it, but we'll see. So yeah, mine's the Giants defensive line against the Eagles offensive line.
Love it.
You go back to last week and you watch them play the Bengals, and Joe Burrow had only been pressured on 21.5% of his dropbacks this season. And the Giants more than doubled that. They pressured him on 47.1% of his dropbacks. The Giants lead the league in sacks. They lead the league in sack rate, and they're only 15th in blitz rate. And so they're not a blitz-heavy team, but they generate a lot of pressure, and they convert a lot of those pressures to sacks. They're also second in tackles for loss. So they rank 5th in pass rush win rate, 6th in run stop win rate. And like David mentioned, you're down Jordan Mailata now with the hamstring injury for, I think they said a couple of weeks. So Fred Johnson's going to have to make it work. They're going to have to figure something out. But Fred Johnson so far this season has allowed 18 pressures on 76 pass blocking snaps, which is a 23.7% pressure rate. That's not great. Not really what Marshawn says. Fred Johnson sounds like my dentist. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I don't think Fred Johnson's necessarily as bad as those numbers look, because his start came against Todd Bowles, the Buccaneers. Really good at scheming up blitzes. He was far from the only problem there. And then his performance when he came in for Mailata last week, he was switching to the left side, which he's going to have to do, but maybe that's a little hard to do in week. So hopefully, we're going to trust in Stoutland U, but that's definitely a potential problem, especially if the Eagles struggle to run the ball, which the Giants have a good run defense, and they've got Dexter Lawrence, who I think might be one of the best non-QBs in the league, the most impactful non-QBs in the league. And I hate that he plays for the Giants because he's legit like one of my favorite players. But so you can watch for him against Cam Jurgens. You can watch for Brian Burns against Fred Johnson, and what the Eagles' answers are there.
Yep.
So, all right, let's roll on to our picks. David, give me your player of the game prediction.
I'm just going on a hunch, but I'm going to take Saquon Barkley. I think he's just going to show out at New York, at his old stomping grounds there. So give me Saquon Barkley. Are we doing team wins and everything right now?
We'll circle back for it.
All right. Yeah, just Saquon Barkley then. A 2-touchdown performance, 125 all-purpose yards. All
right. Ryan, player of the game prediction.
It's going to be Devontae Smith. Last week was AJ Brown. This week it'll be Devontae Smith.
All right, Dibes.
You know where I'm going. You look at how the tackles are weak for the New York Giants. I suspect maybe we'll see a little more blitzing from Cooper DeJean this week. He had 3 blitzes last week. Give me Cooper DeJean as a guy that gets another sack and maybe a couple big plays against the New York Giants. Give me Cooper DeJean as he's my new Jalen Carter.
Man,
I thought that man was about to say Bryce Huff when he started talking about the tackles.
Man, this guy is talking about tanking. He's just not trying to win this thing.
All right, I'll take Jalen Hurts. And I think Jalen Hurts stacks the second clean game on top of last week's. I thought about A.J. Brown, but I kind of get exposure to A.J. Brown with Jalen Hurts too, and I steal some of Ryan's Devontae Smith exposure. So give me Jalen Hurts for player of the game. And let's throw out score predictions. We'll run it in reverse here. I've got the Eagles winning this game 27-17, which puts me over on 43.5 points by a half of a point. Dibes, what's your score prediction?
I did have it 26-23, but I'm going to go less. I think this is going to be a typical Giants-Eagles game. I'm going to go 20-17. Eagles get the win and the under.
All right, Ryan, what do you have?
I'm going to go with 23-13 Birds. We're getting our first double-digit victory in 17 years.
All right. Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be nice to win one by more than a possession. David, what do you have?
I do agree with Ryan. They're going to have a double-digit victory. I'm going 26-13. I do see the game going kind of similarly as the Cleveland game because the Giants have a pretty good defense. Their offense is not the greatest. But give me 26-13 Eagles and a first quarter score for the first time this year.
All right. Or they're going to hit one of those go balls on the first drive. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right, we got a couple player props we're going to get to as well. The first one is Daniel Jones turnovers, over under a half a turnover. So basically, will Daniel Jones have a turnover? Ryan, what do you got?
I'm going over.
Over. All right. What do you got, David?
Quinyon will get his first interception of his young career, and it will be multiple turnovers for Daniel Jones. Over.
All right, I'm taking the under.
What?
Taking the under. Daniel Jones probably going to play a clean game because it's the Eagles and we can't have nice things like interceptions. I'm sure somebody will drop one though. It will be close.
Or one of our players will knock it out of our own players' hands.
Yeah, that's possible. Dives, what do you got? Over under half a turnover.
It better be over. Oh man, you look at the status of this Giants offense, it has to be over. Give me over.
All right, let's go. Saquon Barkley rushing yards, 99.5, over or under. Will Saquon have a 100-yard game, David?
No, I'm taking the under. I think he gets 120, 130 all-purpose yards, but I'll say, what does he average this year? 96. I'll say he'll come close. He'll get in the 90s, but not 100.
All right, Ryan.
That's not a lot of confidence for your player of the game there, pal. I'm going to go under as well. I'm going to go under as well. I think he gets close, but ultimately falls short.
All right, Dibes.
Yeah, also under. I think this Eagles offense still wants to be a passing offense. I see more AJ Brown, more Devontae Smith explosive plays than Saquon right now.
I'm taking the over. I think they're going to try to feed Saquon. I think there's the revenge game at mind, and I think they're going to play into that a little bit, especially without Jordan Mailata. So I'll take the over. Hurts or Daniel Jones, more passing yards. I went Daniel Jones because, again, I think the Eagles are going to run the ball a little more. I think Daniel Jones is going to feed the ball to Malik Neighbors a lot. So I'll take Daniel Jones with more passing yards. Ryan, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Hurts. I'm going to fit my narrative of Smitty getting player of the game. So, they got to pass the ball.
Well, I love this comment right here. Over under on how many kids Sirianni brings to the podium. 0.5.
Under.
We're going under. Back weeks, you nuts.
Dives, who has more passing yards, Hurts or Jones?
Going Hurts. Give me Hurts.
All right. And David.
I'm going Hurts for the exact opposite reason of you, Shane. I think the Giants do not want any part of Saquon Barkley being the reason that they beat them on the ground. So give me Hurts.
That's fair. Okay. Who has more touchdowns, AJ Brown or Devontae Smith? Give me AJ Brown. David, what about you?
AJ Brown.
Ryan?
Come on. Do you have to ask?
Devontae Smith, because you took him for player of the game.
There we go.
All right. Dibes.
Yeah.
It's AJ.
All right. AJ Brown over under 114.5 receiving yards. I got the over. Dibes, what about you?
I am also going over. Yep.
All right. Ryan? Under, because he picked Devontae Smith for player of the game.
Devontae Smith. I'm really riding on this one, huh?
All right. David?
He's unstoppable. It's over.
All right. And our final one. Over under Tyrone Tracy Jr. total yards, 64.5. Ryan, I'm unsure how your Devontae Smith pick affects that one. Can you enlighten us?
Well, listen, if the Eagles get up big, they're not going to be running the ball too much with Tracy, but he is very, important in their passing game. I will say he gets over this because our rush defense has not been the greatest. So I'll give it to Tracy.
All right. David?
Under.
I also went under. I wish I knew what Singletary's status was. He didn't get much work before Singletary, and I think Singletary is going to be back. And so I think they should continue to play Tyrone Tracy, but I don't know that they will. So I'll take the under.
Who's winning this thing?
Huh?
Who's winning this thing for the year?
I have no idea.
I kind of screwed up. I accidentally deleted week 4's. So I don't. And we
did bad in week 4.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I definitely got all right.
So as it was before that, 17, Rob, myself, and Ryan, and then Shane and David had 14. If I remember correctly, I remember like Shane, no offense, and David, no offense. You guys did pretty bad week 4. That's just my lasting memory. But I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened to it, but it's not in the cloud. It's gone. So
one of our viewers, if you want to go back and check out that show and just DM me and let me know if I did bad, we don't need to share the results with Dives. But if I did good, we need to know about it. So
All right, I'll do the math right now while you talk.
I'm done talking. I don't have anything else to say. Did you take the over or under on Tracy's yards, Vibes?
Over under on Tracy, I am going over. I think he gets like a couple screens and gets some chunk yardage, but I don't think I think the Eagles do a good job on him.
Okay, cool deal. Tab back. Ryan should be at 20. I should be at 38. I mean 19. He put it.
He literally put it.
David should be at 18.
So there you go.
I had a pretty terrible week 6, so I'm looking about
Rob is killing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to about do it for our recap and preview show. Thank you guys for tuning in. To all our live Q says we need paper ballots going forward. We'll mail them to Q and let him put it all together for us.
By the way, I am also winning our fantasy football league. I just want to throw that out.
Come on,
The week he lost got deleted too.
I'm still returning champ. All right. So
Dives goes in and edits the scores, adjusts scores every week.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Monday night or Tuesday morning at like 1 a.m. when everybody else is asleep. So.
Oh yeah, he obviously doesn't sleep at all. So I'm sure this is what he does with his time.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So thank you guys, everybody, for joining in live. Lots of comments today. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us every Tuesday night. Be sure you are subscribed to the Eagles Pin Pull Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts. Lots of great shows. We've got 8 long form shows a week now. We added a new show, a preview and review show, the Kelly Green Hour. So check that out. Phil's got his daily weekday check down shows that launch first thing in the morning. So lots of content, more content than you could probably listen to be honest, but download it all anyways. 5-star ratings and reviews are greatly appreciated. Let's throw it around the horn here for final thoughts and plugs. Dives, lead us off.
I'm excited to watch Cooper DeJean and Quinyon continue to crush it for this Eagles defensive backfield. Check out Party on Broad. I've been putting out daily news on Eagles and Sixers and shorts, so go check that out. I put out basically highlight reels of everybody on this Eagles team the last couple of days, so go check that out as well. Can't wait for Sunday, man. Is it Sunday yet?
Almost. All right, Ryan, final thoughts, plugs.
I was just going to assume that like Sunday was the start of like the Sixers season or something. But anyway, yeah, listen, you can follow me right here on X. Please make sure you guys are following everybody else. Paul George, like that won't happen in like game number 4 because we can't add nice things. But please make sure you guys are helping to help us build this thing. Honestly. It's pretty new. We're starting off, pretty hot. So help us continue that. Share us out there and show us love.
All right. And David, any final thoughts or plugs?
Yes. Aside from giving everybody a follow, I wanted to mention it was fun to see the Eagles rookie cornerbacks, both Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, swap their jerseys at the end of the game. It's kind of neat to see that they find it as important as the fans do. Cooper said that we came in together, same position group. It was our first time starting together, so it was a special moment. So I thought that was pretty cool that they think it's as special as everybody else does and that they acknowledge it and recognizing it. So I thought that was a cool moment.
Yeah. All right. You guys be sure you're following all of these guys on Twitter or X or whatever it is. He is at Mr. Crockpot. Ryan is at Philly Sports PSA. David is at PHL Eagle News. I am at Shane Half NFL, and we will catch you guys next week for another Victory Tuesday episode of Birds of the Round Table. Go Birds.